Brian Alvarez here. You're listening to the Kicking Out Podcast, a podcast about All Elite Wrestling, hosted by Tanner Lee, Paul Zartman, and Austin Shepard.
You are listening to the #1 AEW podcast, the Kicking Out Podcast, a podcast about All Elite Wrestling, hosted by my favorite host, Tanner Lee, Paul Zartman, and Austin Shepard. So if you want to know everything that's going on in the world of All Elite Wrestling, AEW, then you need to listen to the Kicking Out Podcast. Please tell Thunder Rosa I said hello.
What is up, Kicking Out Podcast Nation? I am your host, Paul Zartman. And if you've been watching the Kicking Out Podcast for a while, you know that Dynasty was just a couple weeks ago. And I had a perfect card at Dynasty. But I was not the only one to have a perfect card at Dynasty. My co-host for today, JPJ, also had a perfect card at Dynasty, which means we tied.
Sure did.
This is twice you've done predictions.
I've done, yes, I know.
Somebody.
I have done predictions formally twice with you, gentlemen, and I have had a perfect card both times, which has led to a tiebreaker. I didn't win the tiebreaker round last time, but hopefully, not for you, but hopefully for me, things are different this time.
Oh, yeah. Well, last time you were on here, I only did better than Pluggo. I didn't do very well compared to everybody else.
It's true. It's true. I do feel like, obviously you can see the background. We're not doing an AEW prediction today. We're doing the big show this weekend, WrestleMania. And I feel like we're not going to have the same predictions here, because I felt like Dynasty was a great show, but I felt like a lot of it was predictable, the outcomes, which is why it was like 2-point difference from like last place to first. Like we were all bunched together. I feel like this one, there's a bunch of matches that I honestly they could go either way.
I know. There's at least 5 that I could think of that I'm sitting there going, man, this could go either way.
100%. Yeah. So I think this is going to be a real fun one, because I just think there's way more questions for a lot of these matches, which is good.
And I did something that you'll find out a little later on in the show here, because I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, God.
But there is a tiebreaker, so that we can guarantee there is absolutely no way you and I are going to tie.
Okay. I hope it's involving. I hope it's involving what I hope it's involving, to be honest with you.
Oh.
I have an idea of maybe one thing it could be.
Okay.
We'll see if great minds think alike when we get there.
All right. But before we dive into WrestleMania weekend or week, I mean, we're in the middle of WrestleMania
we're in
week.
Man. Yeah. Bloodsport soon.
Yes. And before we fully do that, it would be wrong of KOP not to talk about AEW, at least for a few minutes. And I want to do that because, JPJ, you were in attendance last night in Boston.
I went to Dynamite last night. Best Dynamite of the year. Best Dynamite of the year. I know I'm obviously biased. It was in my town and I was in the building, but I think most people, that was as perfect an episode of Dynamite that they've put on in a long time.
That crowd was hot from the
get-go. Yeah, man. That crowd was. Boston usually shows out really. Look, I'm very pro Boston, and I know it annoys people, but like, we show up when there's a wrestling show in any company. We are a wrestling city, Boston. We're a wrestling city, and Tony came out after the show before he sent us all home, and he was like, "Hey, the second ever Dynamite was here. Like, you guys have been part of our plan and been with us since the beginning. And we wanted to bring this show to you, and hopefully you guys had a good time." And you could tell that they care when they come to Boston. Big things happen when they're in Boston. We haven't gotten a pay-per-view yet. I'm hoping we do soon. I think we've earned it as a crowd for them, that we've earned give us a Revolution or a Full Gear or something like that. But every time they come for Dynamite, something big happens on the show. There's always a major angle, or it's just a loaded show. Like, they treat Boston well because Boston treats them well.
Absolutely. And we saw one of your favorites, the CEO, go over Athena.
What? Listen, I know she's not your favorite.
Oh,
What a match.
that
What
was
a
a good
match.
match. I will give her that.
Fantastic. In a perfect way. I went in thinking that this was going to be the main event because
Yeah.
of the CEO Boston, big dream match for a lot of people. But I actually thought the way they did it with opening the show and having Mercedes be the first person that comes out in Boston, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was a perfect opener. They went almost 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To start this show. Just fantastic. It was so good. The reversals, the spots, the stunner spot on the outside by Athena to Mercedes ruled. The reversal by Mercedes from Athena, like into that like gnarly looking backbreaker that it almost looked like Mercedes blew out her knee. That was a ridiculously good spot. The tombstone reversal thing they did was very cool. It was just a well put together match, and I liked the roll up finish. That it wasn't like Mercedes hit her moves and Athena was out cold. It was like Mercedes needed to survive, you know?
Right. And I know you've talked about it and we've talked about it on KOP. This sets up for Athena Mercedes for the TBS title.
I
Because
agree.
it was a roll-up finish. She can come back and say, look, you snuck out a victory on me. I want to go one-on-one again, put your title on the line. Maybe even Athena says, I'll put my title on the line, and we run this thing back.
I agree. I think this was the first. And I think that finish kind of guaranteed that it is. And it has me questioning things, Paul. I don't like to go too far in advance with my like what I think is going to happen, my fantasy booking stuff. But now I kind of thought it was a shoo-in that Mercedes would win the Owen. And now it makes me think that I think we might get Athena Mercedes at All In.
Okay.
It's in Texas. That's where Athena's from. You have the second match in her hometown. Mercedes had it the first one in her. I just feel like, again, if I had to bet my house on it, I'd probably still be picking Mercedes. I feel like it is the obvious choice. But Tony has a history with Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe Athena could cost Mercedes the match at Double or Nothing against Jamie Hayter, or even Statlander if you want. You have Mercedes Statlander 3. And Statlander finally gets over the hump and we have just a good match. But I don't know. But it has me questioning things the way that we got it in a semifinal, the roll-up finish. But I think this could happen in Texas again. I think it could.
Okay. And, props to these two girls. They broke the barricade for a second. The screen went all static.
Yeah.
It's been ages since I saw a screen go staticky. So that was like, oh, look, it's my childhood all over again.
Yeah.
But nobody else was able to do that last night. So that shows you the force that these women were using on each other.
Oh, yeah. They were ready for this match. As much as it's a dream match for the fans, this was a dream match for both of them, too. They've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
They knew since they were working over in WWE. They knew that this was a match they wanted to do, and it took a long time. But they were as ready for this match as I've ever, like, they knew. And it's one of those things where, like, when you have this type of dream match, like when the fans are like really, really excited, it's hard sometimes for the match to live up to the hype. And I feel like these two put on a show that exceeded the hype. And that should be praised for both of them. I thought it was a terrific match. Oddly enough, not as great a match as this wasn't the best match on the show.
Okay.
Because we got a classic.
Which brings me to Hangman and the wild card, Josh Alexander. Was not expecting him to show up. What are your thoughts on that?
I loved it. I loved it. Josh Alexander is one of the best wrestlers in the world. So adding him to this roster is a great thing. I thought it was going to be Jack Perry because I thought they were going to go like an elite angle, because especially when we had the segment right before with the Bucks and Okada with Hangman and stuff like that, I thought it was either going to be Jack Perry or they were going to do like a reversal from last year and it was going to be Jeff Jarrett. Like those were the two guys that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
But Josh Alexander was I know it wasn't a surprise for everybody, but it was a nice surprise for me. And I think everyone in the building was pumped And then we got a
Yeah.
really good match between Hangman and him. And I love the angle they did at the end with Callis and the Callis family. And now, is Josh Alexander a member of the Callis family now? That's a cool story we got to figure out. And we're getting Hangman and Kyle Fletcher in the semifinals. Like, that match is going to be incredible. Yeah, I thought this was, yeah, man. But again, another roll-up finish, kind of like the Mercedes, kind of, like it was like Hangman was like, oh man, this guy, I thought they made, even in a loss, I thought they made Josh Alexander look really, really good. Really,
Oh,
really good.
yeah. Yeah. And that was one thing I was worried about when the rumors started circulating that he was the wild card. I was worried, all right, so you're going to have him come in, join the company, and immediately lose.
Mm-hmm.
But they did a great job of making him look good.
Yep. And then I think the angle after with Callis, even more so. Like, because you're not remembering that he lost the match. You're remembering what happened after, and you're like, oh shit, is he going to join the Callis family? It makes sense. He's Canadian, Don Cat. Like, it makes sense. They did the North stuff earlier. Callis was still around. TNA when they were doing that. He was, so it makes sense 1000% if he were to join the Callis family.
And then we had 2 title matches on the show as well. We had the tag team titles, which doesn't surprise me that the Hurt Syndicate picked up that victory.
But a good match too. Another good match.
Good fun segment after the show or after the match with MJF.
Shelton Benjamin was excellent. Excellent in that segment.
He got a new watch out of the whole deal.
Oh, so good, dude. And they leaned in. They need to lean more into him being funny.
Yes,
because he was great in that. And then they did the small little backstage thing, and he was also funny in his one. Like, they need to lean into that more.
Yeah. And then we had the Trios Championship, which all sorts of chaos around even setting this match, because you had Pac get injured last week with his ankle. We knew he was out and Mox was filling his shoes. We find out that Hook's not in attendance, so it looks like it's going to be a 2-on-3 match. When the ops first came out, I'm sitting there and I went, they're standing up there too long. They've got a third member. I was hoping it was Taz just for a one-off. That would have been great. Like, you took my son out, I'm coming for revenge. But getting Powerhouse Hobbs,
a very nice surprise.
Oh man, and it sounds
nice surprise.
The way that match ended with Joe handing Hobbs the title, it looks like the Ops are now a 4-man group, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, at the very least, until they lose those, Hobbs has to be in the group. He was part of the match that had him win it. For me, I like this. I thought this was this was the main event. There was a big match that happened. I don't know if we're going to talk about that last. But,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm saving that one.
That's what I assumed. But I thought this was really good. And oddly enough, I, like a lot of people, wasn't really digging. Like, I like the guys in the Death Riders, but I haven't been digging the Death Riders the whole time. I don't hate it like some people, but it's been kind of just for me. But since Revolution, I'm digging the Death Rider stuff, like what they're doing now. What really shocked me in this match was that Joe passed out Moxley. And Moxley was the guy that shocked me. It makes me think that maybe we get a Samoa Joe Moxley world title one-on-one at Double or Nothing. Maybe that's the match for Moxley. Because that was the only part, because you would think, everyone would think, oh, Wheeler Yuta is going to be the one if they lose. It'll be Wheeler. Could be Claudio maybe, but it's going to be Wheeler. But making that it was Joe that choked out Moxley, that was the biggest shock to me in this whole thing.
Absolutely. When they announced this match, I went, all right, Yuta's eating the pin. Titles are going to the Ops. Even before Pac got injured, that's how I thought this was going to go. And then the promo set up, I went, all right, Yuta's still eating the pin on this one. Never expected Mox to be the one. But I think that also shows that Mox is beatable in a title match.
Yep.
Even though it was, a trios title, he's still beatable in a trios match. So maybe now or in a title match. But now maybe people are like, all right, maybe we can do this. We can put an end to the Death Riders. Maybe that's the angle they're going with.
And I think they are, because you saw after they won, like a lot of the baby faces in the locker room came out. They were celebrating like, hey, we got one back over the Death Riders. Like, they don't have these tight, so it's definitely, it's leading to, in my opinion, All In with whoever wins the Owen, whether it be Ospreay or, in my opinion, Hangman. I think those are the two, however way you want to go. I think it works. But I think we're getting to that type of moment where All In is going to end with the whole roster out there celebrating that the title is off of Jon Moxley and it comes out of the briefcase and we see it. And it's the first time we've seen, that's where it feels like. It feels like last night was a small taste of what the bigger celebration is going to be down the line.
Absolutely. And all right, I'm normally not one to like a lot of chaos in your main event, but the Bucks coming down, Willow coming down, Swerve, Prince Nana, that all flowed so smoothly. They did a very good job on that. It didn't seem like it took away from the action, which a lot of times it does seem that way, but very well done. Now, for the match of the night.
Maybe of the year.
In the Owen Hart Cup tournament, Will Ospreay, Takeshita, absolutely banger match.
We all knew it was going to be.
Oh yeah. We knew, or at least I felt, that Ospreay was definitely winning that. I'm still leaning more towards Ospreay winning this whole thing, but
I agree.
I'd be okay if Hangman won it, but I really am pulling for Ospreay in this, and it was just fantastic work between these two, as usual.
I mean, we all know how great Will Ospreay is, right? He's the 5-star machine, But Takeshita is a top 5 in-ring wrestler in the world. There's no debate. Like, he is so good, and he's a guy that the crowd loves. Like, even though he's a jerk heel, and he's with the most hateable guy in the company with Callis, the crowd still cheers for him because he's just so good. He's just so good. This match was incredible. One of the best matches I've ever got to witness live. Yeah, man, it started off kind of slow, but very purposefully slow, because once it hit that mark, it did not stop. It did not stop. It was relentless. I loved the back-to-back kicking out at one. That little sequence they did there, that popped the crowd and even brought the crowd to like another level for the last 3 minutes of the match. It was perfect. It was so good. It was so good. Everybody in that building knew we were watching something special. And It was just like, whew, it was great. It was a really, really tremendous match.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said your favorite match of the night, my favorite match of the night. I would say, and this will really shock you, close second was Athena and Mercedes.
For sure. Yeah. For me, I would even say 1 and 1A. But listen, I thought every single match we saw last night was great or better. I didn't think there was, even the segments, I thought there was not one thing on that show that was below great, in my opinion. Even all the interviews, the backstage, and I was in the building. I might be more biased than some, but like, I thought that was a perfect episode of AEW Dynamite. A perfect episode. It was unbelievable.
And they are now out of the shadow of WCW, because they have now surpassed and become the longest running wrestling show on Turner. So let's keep up the momentum that they had last night, and just, not every Dynamite is going to deliver like last night's did, and I know that.
Yeah,
but let's kind of keep going with that momentum, and
and I think they will. I think what they've done to Collision over the last couple months, they've turned Collision from a missable show, like you could not watch it and not miss a damn thing, to there are some weeks now that Collision is the better show of the two. Last week, Collision was the better show last week.
Absolutely agree.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that
Yep.
that is a breath of fresh air. We're recording this on a Thursday afternoon. Tonight, they're live again in the same building as last night, doing a live Collision. We have 3 matches announced. They should all be good. We have an open challenge with Adam Cole, which who knows who that could be. You know, like they've been good. They've been on a little bit of a heater, I would say, the last few months. Like the bookings getting, you know, they're still not perfect. There's still plenty to critique.
Right.
But I feel like the booking is taking a turn for the better, and it has been for the last couple months. And I think really since Revolution, I feel like they're on a really good trend since Revolution. And I thought last night was like really should be the kickstart. Like take us through All In at that pace. Like that, like, let's go. Like, you know, and I thought, you know, it's WrestleMania week. I thought it was smart business wise for them to move Collision to tonight. And I also thought for them to kind of Wednesday night, kind of, you know, Thursday's really the day that WrestleMania weekend starts. For them on that Wednesday night to really kick the week off with like a memorable show that everybody was going gaga over. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Yeah, and if they keep up that same momentum tonight, I mean, it's going to be even better for AEW, in my opinion.
I agree. I think I agree. And I think tonight's going to be I think tonight will be along the same lines. We'll be like, wow, that was one of the better Collision episodes ever. Yep. Probably. Like, I think they're going to do it. So,
yeah. All right. Well, with that said, it is WrestleMania week. We are here to make some predictions and figure out which one of us is the true KOP Predictions Champion. So without further ado, let's start talking about WrestleMania. Looking at what, total of 9 hours roughly of WrestleMania between the 2 days?
Well, I don't know. On Peacock, on each day, they have a block of 9 hours. They have a block of 9 hours for each day of WrestleMania. Now, obviously, that would be pre-shows, post-shows, all that. But I assume if we're just talking main card, I would assume it's going to be anywhere between 8 to 9 hours would be my guess.
Yeah, because I think both pre-shows are already slotted for 3 hours each.
What the hell? All right. we are diehard wrestling fans. We are here doing this, right? What the heck? They don't do matches on the pre-show.
No.
What the hell are they going to do for 3 hours? That is come on.
I don't know, because I mean, you could dive into all the matches on each show, showcase them, and some of them don't have really big builds. So I mean,
you still have 2 hours. You still have 2 hours after that, Paul. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, what? 2 hours? Like, it's Mania. 2 hours? I feel like fun. Yep, that's good. It's Mania, 2 hour pre-show. Stretch it out. Cool. 3. That's a pay-per-view, man.
Yes, it is.
You have a pay-per-view as your pre-show. That for what?
With 0 matches.
No, ridiculous.
I could see, you know, in the past, there's always been 1 or 2 matches ahead of Mania that didn't make the card, that it's like, oh, hey, we threw this together Friday night or Monday afternoon, and the card was already full, so it's a pre-show match.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that, you know? Give me 1 or 2 pre-shows on each show, boom.
You can't do, even if you're doing a 3 hour pre-show, the first 2 hours of the 3 hour pre-show is the actual pre-show, and that last hour have 3 matches.
Yeah.
You can't have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. You can't have both your mid-card women's titles defended on the 2-night show.
Yeah.
Sorry to raise my voice, but that annoys me. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
The Street Profits have to defend the SmackDown titles on SmackDown, not on WrestleMania. Why?
That'd be a perfect pre-show match.
Of course.
Have your United States women's title defended on a pre-show match. I could understand Lyra not defending hers. We got into that last week on Between Two Beards. We were both in an agreement that Lyra and Bayley should not be challenging for these titles, and it should be Bayley and Lyra for the title.
Yes. How is
Here we
Chelsea
are.
Green not on WrestleMania?
Yeah.
How has Chelsea Green not earned a WrestleMania match with her performance over the last year and a half?
Yeah. I mean,
Crazy.
that great segment with her getting counted out and not realizing that she got counted out,
Which was
wonderful
actually a
stuff.
shoot. That actually happened by accident. That wasn't supposed to end that way.
Oh, okay. See, I did not catch
That's
that
what they
part,
said. That
but-
was not supposed to end that way. That was like a legit
Oh.
mistake that they turned into because Chelsea Green is excellent at what she does.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sometimes it's hard to hear that ref counting.
Yeah.
All right. So, what match do you want to predict first out of the 13 matches we have?
You know what? Let's start. Let's start with the street fight.
All right. We've got a Sin City Street Fighter, as I like to call them, insert city name street fights between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. This one, what are your thoughts on the build for this one?
My thoughts on this build are the same that I'm going to have in a lot of. I think the build in general has been lackluster.
Okay.
It's been lackluster. However, I think by the time we're done WrestleMania weekend, we're going to be saying that this was a really good WrestleMania. Because I think if you look at the card just as the matches, it's a good card. And I think that these two guys, I think that they're going to go out there and try to steal the show. And I think this is going to be one of the better matches of the weekend. This is two guys that were world champions last year that both feel like they probably deserve more out of this WrestleMania, especially Drew. He's been vocal about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to go out there with a chip on their shoulder and a point to prove. And I would not be shocked if they've had conversations with each other of like, I do like that they've added the street fight element so they can get a little crazy, use some weapons, get out of the ring, do some cool stuff if they want. But I think that these two guys are going to go out there with the intention of like walking back through the curtain and being like, fucking follow that.
Yeah.
Follow that.
Absolutely. And, the one thing I did like in this build was Damian putting Drew through the car windshield as Punk was walking by.
Yeah. You think they involve glass in this match?
Oh, that'd be great. Hopefully it's not real glass, though. All right. So who do you have and how many confidence points you got on this one?
Yeah, I have Drew McIntyre winning this one. I really like Damian Priest, but I think this is Drew's time. And then I think he catapults to main challenger on the SmackDown side of things at some point soon. I have Drew winning with there's 13 matches, right? With a 11 confidence.
All right. This is scary. This is already, hopefully this doesn't end up looking like Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
I've got Drew as well, but for 12 points.
Okay.
I think one thing they've got to be careful of, and this is fantasy booking on my end. Drew's been very vocal about some of his opinions on where he's ended up in WWE and what he wishes he could do and what he's being overlooked for.
Mm-hmm.
AEW's heading to Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
If this guy quits between now and the end of May, he could be in Glasgow.
I mean, I think he's under I think that he re-signed last year, right? They would not
till 27.
They would hold him hostage, I would think.
I probably.
I would think that they would not allow that to happen. And that would be great. It would be great. But I mean, look at the end of the day, like we've seen it. Like, I don't think they're there with him because I think he's just so good. And I think, but like if they keep on kind of, and look at the top of the card is crowded. And this year is a little bit different than normal because Cena's involved and he hasn't been the last 3 years or so. And he won't be after this year. So I think John coming back and having the year of his final year, I think that obviously, that guy goes right to the top and everybody just kind of moves down one more slot, So I think this year is unlike other years, you know what I mean? Because of that. Yep. But at the same time, like if he continues to be unhappy, we have seen guys, the main champion, ask for releases before.
Yeah.
Like, Drew seems like he got fired, but he got fired last time, and then he said, "All right, I'm going to go out on the indies and prove to you who I am." And he came back, and he is who he is. I mean, at some point, if he's not happy and he still feels this way months and months and months down the line, like anything can happen,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
All right. I'm gonna jump to the match and get this out of the way just because I know neither of us are happy about this match and we don't understand why. And that is the women's tag team championship match, as we will see Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defend against Lyra Valkyrie and Bailey. I think I kind of have a feeling I know where both of us are gonna go on this one.
Yeah, I would say. Listen, here's my thing. You said it earlier. I felt like this somehow should have ended up with I wouldn't have minded Lyra turning on Bailey to give Lyra a little bit of a character change, like because she doesn't not a character change. Like Lyra Valkyria is slowly becoming one of my favorite in-ring competitors in WWE. Like her matches are great. She is strong. She is a very strong for someone her size. She is like deceptively strong.
Oh, absolutely.
And her matches are fantastic. And that gauntlet match was great, even though there was, and they were great in it, Bailey and her. But here's my thing. They're a thrown together tag team. And you had them on a gauntlet match just run through your whole SmackDown women's tag team division. So that makes your SmackDown women's tag team division look like shit because you had a thrown together team just start the gauntlet and just dominate their way through. And then more importantly, you have your women's Intercontinental Champion fighting for a different title at WrestleMania in the first year of existence of that women's IC title, where I feel like it's pretty crucial for it to be defended at WrestleMania.
I completely agree with you 100% on everything you just said.
Pisses me off.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think this match is going to be a good match. It's going to be a good match, but that's not the point. The point is Bailey and Lyra, you have standard women's tag teams in your company. Why are we putting together a team a week before WrestleMania and giving them a tag title match?
Makes no sense.
That says to me that you don't believe in your women's tag team division. And that it can't happen, man. It just can't happen. And again, I'm more angry that the mid-card titles are not being defended than I am that Bailey and Lyra are the two, because Bailey is my goat. I love Bailey.
Absolutely.
And Lyra is great. And this will be good. Liv and Raquel are winning 13. This is the highest confidence I have of any match on the show. That Liv and Raquel will retain.
I'm right there with you with Liv and Raquel. I only have 11 on it though.
Okay.
Because there's one match I felt even more confident in. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to add except if somehow they do decide to put the belts on Bailey and Lyra for whatever godforsaken reason that they decide to do that, then I want to see this like breakdown in Bailey where she goes, okay, I just want a tag title, but I can't win a singles title. Why can't I do this? And that, fires her up. And then, maybe she goes, since I stopped being the happy-go-lucky hugger Bailey, I've not really done anything successfully in singles run. Maybe I need to go back to that.
Maybe. I mean, you're also talking a year ago, Bailey won the world title at WrestleMania.
Well, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like if you look, but I'm saying from a character perspective of Bailey, if they lose this match, which we both think they will, I would like Bailey to be like, a year ago, I was winning a women's world title at WrestleMania, and now I just lost in a tag match with the person that I just started. Like, I want that to, what I would love is them to lose and Bailey to turn on Lyra at WrestleMania, and then the next night we have an IC title match on Raw, and Bailey wins it.
I'm all for that. We know anything can happen the Raw after Mania.
Yes. And then you know who should come back after that and try to fight Bailey? Becky Lynch.
Yeah, but didn't she announce that she's officially done?
Well, she didn't say that, but she said somebody asked her and she was like, she said a quote like, I'm not wrestling right now. She goes, maybe something, but not right now or something like that. But again, I think she's kind of working people.
No, well, probably it's Becky Lynch.
Yeah. But again, like as frustrated as I am, like, again, I still think this match is going to be very good. And I like all 4 of the women involved in it. It's going to be a good match. I just think it's just unnecessary. It's just an unnecessary opponent for Liv. It should be a standard tag team that you're trying to get over, not another champion. And, it's annoying.
Like Chelsea's Cabinet would be a good fit for that. Right here.
Well, because, what I wanted to happen was Bailey and Lyra start the gauntlet. The last opponent is the Hervis or whatever they call that group. And then I wanted either one of them to bail out on the other person, and this should be Liv and Raquel versus Piper and Kaylee Ray. Alba Fire, sorry. Alba Fire. That's what this should be, because guess what? That's an easy win for Liv and Raquel because they're going to retain. And it gets 2 people that have done good work, especially Piper. She's done great work. She should be on the show too.
Yep. And you could have it opening up, night 1 or night 2. Yeah. And then you still get on the Mania card, but you're not taken away from maybe a bigger match.
Exactly. And I think it puts a shine on a tag team that you can run with, because they should be a tag team as long as they're still, until they break away from Chelsea. If they're part of the group, those 2 are the tag team and Chelsea's the solo. That makes sense. So to put them in this position in a match that everybody knows Liv and Raquel are winning no matter who they face, it's just a waste of not defending a title that should be defended.
Yep. All right. Where you want to head next on the match card?
Why don't we go to the other tag team title match on the men's side of things?
Okay. And that would be the War Raiders facing the New Day for the tag team titles. This has been interesting. I've gone back and forth on my thoughts on the New Day, as Pat McAfee calls them. I actually like them as heels. So
I think the turn was great on Big E. I think what they've done since the turn I've enjoyed, but I think the booking it should have been better. Yes. It should have been better. But I like these 2 guys. I've always liked these 2 guys. I think they are doing very well. Like, I like it.
And with that being said, I've got New Day for 8 points.
Fair enough. I like it. There was a time that this was almost going to be my 13.
Okay.
But a small part of me thinks that maybe Big E could be involved here. And that both of our cards go up in flames because of this. But if we both pick the same team, then it will be determined with the points. I have the New Day for 10.
Okay.
I have the New Day for 10, but a part of me thinks that maybe Biggie. My thing is, okay, so you got the New Day, right? Their whole thing was they didn't care that Biggie had a broken neck. He should have been with them, blah, blah, blah. They're going against the War Raiders, who both of these guys have histories of like almost losing their careers to neck injuries.
Yeah.
Why haven't we been talking about that more?
Yeah, except on Raw when they tried to end their careers and they were gonna, break their necks.
Yeah. But there hasn't been, I don't know. I just feel like we should have been leaning way more into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, Big E with the neck, you 2 with your necks. Like, we should have been leaning way more into it than we have. I don't know why that hasn't been like the focal point of the feud. But either way, I mean, again, this is another match that even though the build was lackluster, it should be good. It should be a good match with these guys. I just think we crown the heel New Day as the champs, and they're going to run the Raw division as the heel champs. I think that's what they're going to do.
And it'll be great.
Yep, I agree.
All right, now maybe we can finally break up and not have the same thought process on
Yeah.
this
Pending.
match. The Intercontinental Championship match. You've got Braun Breaker versus Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus Penta. This is very, very interesting because if you watch all the backstage segments, it's almost like Liv and Raquel are trying to get the Judgment Day down to just Liv, Raquel, and Dirty Dom. So adding Dominic into this match and Finn kind of being, oh, I didn't know you wanted a title match, or I would have let you have it already. You know, it's all kind of very, very interesting and sets up for a very interesting outcome, no matter how you look at who wins this match.
Yeah, I agree. Me personally, I think it is one of the Judgment Day guys that are winning.
Okay.
I can go back and forth of which one I think will win. Obviously, I have a pick here in a sec, but like I am more sure that Braun Breaker is not winning than I am of any of the other three winning, if that makes sense. Like
absolutely.
That's the thing I'm most sure of, is that Braun Breaker is not winning this match and that he will not be pinned or be involved in the decision of this match. I think it goes one of two ways. I think Finn Balor pins Dom to win it, or I think Dom pins Penta to win it.
Okay.
With that being said, I am picking Dominic Mysterio to sneak away with the IC title because I really want them to go into the story that is the straw that breaks the camel's back, and Finn Balor loses his mind. Because Dominic sneaks away with the IC title. However, because I do think Finn has a good chance of winning this match as well, this is only 6 points for me. I'm not terribly confident about it.
All right. Now I said I was hoping we would start to,
we will. I think
differently
we will
on these matches. So far, we've only thought different on our confidence points, and that's the case here as well, because I do think Dom's going to sneak away with this somehow, and I have 3 points on it.
That's fair. 6 I thought was going to be high, but I do have like 3 or 4 matches that I'm like, I could do ones for all of them.
Oh, yeah. So do I. That was one of them. My 1, 2, and 3, I was just sitting there going, man, I could do a 1 on all of these.
100%.
I don't feel good about any.
Yes, exactly.
All right, where are we heading next?
Oh boy. All right, let's do the United States Championship. Why not?
Okay. In the United States Championship, you've got LA Knight, versus the Werewolf, Jacob Fatu. This, it's just interesting. I love LA Knight on the mic.
Yep.
And the fact that he references the way Jacob moves and everything had me rolling. And that's been the thing that has stuck out most on this build. This is one of my bottom 3 that I went, man, there's so much that could happen. This could go either way, but I did go LA Knight for 2.
Okay, well, here it is. This is the one. I could see Solo costing Jacob Fatu this match.
I think if Solo gets involved, the outcome's different, but
yeah, I could see Solo, not on purpose maybe, but like accidentally causing this match with Jacob to lose, and then you lead to obviously Jacob and Solo, which I thought they might have done at WrestleMania. I thought we might have been seeing the way they were going. I thought that's what we were going to get, was Jacob and Solo here. With that being said, I am picking Jacob Fatu to win and become the new United States Championship. I think this is strap the rocket to him. And this is the first step to doing so. However, I'm not terribly confident, but I gave this one was a 7-pointer for me.
Okay.
So I feel pretty good about it, but again, it's in the middle. It's in that middle pack. But I don't really feel good about any of it.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
All right, we're gonna go to the one that I am least confident on. I'll tell you that right out the gate.
Okay.
And that is
Mhm.
Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Championship. Man, this is one of those that I just looked at it and I went, all right, Tiffany's doing okay. Her run hasn't been stellar. A win over Charlotte would do great things for her career, but it's Charlotte Flair. And I know how everybody backstage feels about Charlotte Flair. So I went Charlotte Flair for this, but only for 1 point.
Okay. I agree with your sentiments of the people backstage in Charlotte. I am not a Charlotte hater. I am not one of those people. However, I will say, I think, okay, I'm very big on Tiffany Stratton. I have been very big on Tiffany Stratton since she was in NXT. She is a future super duper star for them, big time. The right thing to do is have Charlotte put Tiffany over here. That's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
But Charlotte is Charlotte. I agree with you. I agree with you when you say Charlotte is Charlotte, but I think the right thing to do is to put Tiffany over. And I will say I have not appreciated what I thought they did last week on SmackDown was okay. That segment a couple weeks ago was trash. The in-ring segment. It was a trash segment, but it got people talking. Okay.
Yeah.
So a little bit of good came out of it because nobody was talking about this feud before that.
Nope.
Okay. I thought what they did last week with them just kind of brawling a few times and there was no talking, just physical. I thought it was good. I thought they followed it up well. So I think they've, it's not, the build has still been terrible. I don't know. I just look at it like Charlotte is the veteran here. She's one of the greatest to ever do it. Tiffany, to me, since they've turned her like full on babyface, she's been struggling a little bit to kind of find what her character is a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And that's clear. And that's fine. She's young. She'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that. This is where Charlotte, being the veteran, should be helping Tiffany get to make, like, you know what I mean? You should be guiding her along and helping her, not steamrolling her on purpose in the sit down they did a month ago. And, I don't know if somebody out back gave Charlotte all the answers, but she knew everything that Tiffany was going to say in that segment, and she made Tiffany look terrible, and not in like a heel character way, like in a damaging way. And then the trash segment with Tiffany saying the stuff she said, that was Charlotte's receipt. That was Charlotte's receipt, because Tiffany strikes me that even though she's young, Tiffany strikes me as one of those people that is like, you're not fucking doing that to me. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. You're not doing that to me.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, reports have been all over that was completely off script. And that's why Charlotte didn't really have a response apart from, that's why, I can't even think of his name now.
Kaiser.
That's why
Ludwig
Kaiser's in my DMs.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a train wreck, but I think the last couple of weeks have been better than the previous whatever. Again, this is my 1 point as well, but I picked Tiffany.
Okay.
I think it's the right thing to do. And you know what? I don't know why I have hope, but I just think it's the right thing to do that she goes over. But I am not confident whatsoever.
I agree with you. It is the right thing for her to go over, but
I get it. That's why it's my one, because it's Charlotte.
At the same time, with everything they've been doing, and Cena saying how he's gonna break the record, so you forget about Ric Flair. This having Charlotte win gets her closer to that record as well, and then as she gets ready to break Cena's record, she can mention, a Flair's going to be the record holder again.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And that's one reason I went with Charlotte on this.
Yeah,
one.
They're all great.
Future.
Yeah, they're all great points. They're all great points. They truly, like, that's why I was so torn on it. It's my one, because I'm like, I want Tiffany to win. I think Tiffany should win. I think that's the right booking call, but it's Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that's it, you know?
All right. Where you want to head to next on this stacked card?
It really is. You know what? Let's get it out of the way. Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano.
Rey Mysterio versus Chad Gable. I mean, El Grande.
How dare you? There is no proof. There is no proof. How dare you?
There's no proof.
With
there
your
isn't.
assumptions.
Except the tattoo on his back and the fact that they both had the same busted up knuckles.
Yeah. Look we've seen them in the same spot. They both have been in the same space, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
This hasn't been a huge build, but yet it has been at the same time because American Made and LWO have been going at it for months.
Mm-hmm.
And the LWO's why Chad Gable went off to find the secret to beating the Luchadors.
Mm-hmm.
And then El Americano Grande has made his debut. A part of American Made, we can assume, since it says, American Made on his mask, where he slides that little metal plate into.
Mm-hmm.
But I went Rey Mysterio for 9 on this one.
9. It's pretty good.
I don't know if Rey will get the chance to unmask him or if we see some twin magic or something. I don't know how it's going to work, but I think we get the switch at some point to have a second El Americano Grande or El Grande Americano in the ring that gets unmasked, so it's not Chad Gable.
I was shocked that they didn't make this a mask for mask match.
Me too. And
that would have made sense.
Unless we're going to get that at Backlash.
Yeah, maybe. My thing is, I feel like the moment of this match or the moment of the post match is going to be the unmasking.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think because this isn't a mask versus mask match, I think Grande Americano can win this.
Oh, okay.
Because I still think you can get to that moment of unmasking him after he wins the match. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that has to be this, but I am not 9 points. That shocked me because I am not confident in this at all.
I'm confident in little Ray, okay?
Yeah. But I am picking. This is one of the ones that is bad for me. I am picking El Grande Americano.
Okay.
But only, I have 4 remaining, right? What have I used for the
yeah, you've got 4 remaining.
Yeah.
You've only used your 1 so far.
That's it?
Yeah. I'm not seeing a 2 or a 3 anywhere on here.
Yeah. I think originally when I wrote this out, I might have had this 2, to be honest with you. I will do this 3. I will do this 3. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we got that one out of the way. Here's one that, honestly, the way this match came about, I was surprised at because I didn't think we were going to find out that Naomi was the one who attacked Jade Cargill. So that has brought us to a WrestleMania match between Jade Cargill and Naomi. And this build has been a long one. It's been a good one. I've enjoyed.
This has been one of the better builds.
Yeah, Jade has really come into her own in the WWE. We know what she's capable of from AEW. We're seeing that and then some here in WWE.
Yeah, I agree. And Naomi, since she's turned heel, oh man, I am loving what I'm getting. That vignette that they did on SmackDown last week, where it was back to back with Naomi starting to talk, and then it went over to Jade. That was a wonderful piece, and I thought both of them were great in that, but I thought Naomi in particular is really good with this heel character. I think she's going to have a big 2022 25. I think both these women will. I'll ask you before we do our picks. Do you think Bianca gets involved? Not involved, but do you think Bianca shows up at ringside? Like, does Bianca get involved here? Because this is night one, right? And then the triple threat is night 2.
She's on night 2.
Yes.
So
which makes me think she might be there.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's just to come down and cheer on either one, I think that also helps set up for night 2, because if she comes out and cheers on Jade, we know Bianca's staying more of a face character. If she comes out and cheers on Naomi, we know she's going to be more of a heel character.
Mm-hmm. What if she comes out and helps one of them win?
Yeah.
I still think Bianca is behind it. I'm still there.
I do too. I do too. That's right where I was when she came down at Chamber and attacked Naomi.
Yep.
I was shocked
because
I was not expecting it to be Naomi. I thought, Bianca was perfect for it. These two kind of have rumored backstage heat anyway. It all made sense.
Yep. I think there's a chance. With the way the matches are stacked, it would obviously be kind of weird, because then Bianca would be fully coming into the triple threat the next night as a heel if she were to help Naomi win. But I think there is a chance. I do think that Bianca is still going to be, because she's been wearing nothing but black since the Elimination Chamber. She's had, even though she's still presented as a babyface, she's getting booed by the audience now a lot. Like, I just feel like there's a lot there. And we'll talk about that match later, but I have Naomi winning this.
Okay.
And I have this for my 8. No, wait, did I already use 8? No, right?
No.
This is my 8. This is my 8. Sorry, I should be taking notes and writing down, but I'm not.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Well, I can confidently say we're still going to do the bonus idea that I have, but I don't think we're gonna need it, because I've got Jade for 10.
Okay, fair enough.
I think, fresh out of her injury, they need to just keep the rocket on her that they started to put on her when they slapped her with Bianca, which was a stupid idea in my opinion, but that's what they decided.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Let's talk about the history-making Royal Rumble winner, as he will be the first Royal Rumble winner on the men's side to not main event WrestleMania. It's Gunther versus Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeet.
Loved Gunther's promo in Raw. Thought it was excellent. I mean, this is another one of those that has been a little lackluster for me. I love the stuff they did when they involved Jimmy for those few weeks, the tag match, and then Gunther beating him to a bloody pulp and right in front of Jay. I thought that was the spark that this feud needed. But then I felt like they didn't really follow it up on the Jey Uso. Like, I thought that the promo that Jey Uso cut to Gunther in the ring, not this past Monday, but last week, that should have happened this week. That should have happened this week. Because when you saw what Jey Uso did this week, which was a whole lot of nothing, just went out there and said nothing and yeeted. Yeah, which is fine. That's his thing. But like, I felt like what should have happened was the following week, when Jey Uso, the week after Jey Uso saw this man beat his brother to death almost in a bloody mess, licking his blood, calling Jay a P word while he's doing it, and all these things, Jay should have went down there the next week and whooped that ass.
Oh, absolutely.
Almost killed your brother.
Yeah.
But he went out there and he was like, I'm not scared of you anymore. Like he's Kevin McAllister from home. I'm not scared anymore. Well, I don't care. He almost murdered your brother, beat his ass.
I was right there with you on the Kevin McAllister. I was waiting for him to run away screaming like Kevin does at one point.
And like, again, I liked what he said in the promo. There was good substance in that promo, but that promo should have been on the go home show this week, not last week.
Right.
Jay should have whipped that ass a little bit.
Yep. Gunther should have come down. You know, he could have said anything to him and then just attacked him.
Yes.
Said, I'm tired of listening to you talk, and attacked him.
Yes.
That's the one thing we haven't seen through any of this. Gunther has gotten the upper hand every single time when it comes to scrapping between these two.
Yep.
It just once would have been fine. And not it's not going to happen again because I'm not scared of you anymore.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I feel like this week, Gunther cut a very strong promo on Raw, and you could tell that he's a little frazzled. So like,
yeah,
they telling the story okay, but I just feel like everything was out of whack. I just felt like, oh, okay, that, it's just, I don't know, it's weird. With that being said, I mean, I'm picking, this is as sure a bet as I think there is on the card, which again, I feel like the way that this has been booked, Gunther should win.
Yeah.
With that being said, Jey Uso is definitely going to win. This is my 12-point choice here with Jey Uso becoming the world. I think this opens WrestleMania. The first thing we do is the Jey Uso major entrance is like the first thing we have on WrestleMania. And I think you're going to have 75,000 people yeeting with Jey Uso after he's holding up that title.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you with Jey Uso winning this, but I only have 6 points on it.
Okay.
I was a little lower on the confidence points, but yeah, I agree with you on this one.
Yeah. Yep. Oh.
All right. You're up next for picking the next match.
I'm trying to save like the main titles for the end here. So why don't we do AJ Styles and Logan Paul?
Yes. AJ Styles, Logan Paul, the Maverick versus, I don't know, the Phenomenal One. There we go.
Yeah,
I forgot his name for a minute. That's bad. Don't tell Styles I forgot his nickname. He might, come give me a Styles clash.
Yeah, could be AJ's last WrestleMania.
It could be. It could be
his last WrestleMania.
Which made this hard for me to decide. But for 5 points, because I'm not 100% confident in this. As much as I don't want to say this, Logan Paul wins. And it lights that fire under AJ that we've been seeing Karrion Kross try to get lit for a while. We run this thing back at Backlash or, SummerSlam or something. And then Styles will get the victory back from him.
All right. I like the Karrion Kross aspect to this. I've really been digging what they've been doing with Kross for a long time now, for a while.
Yep.
And I like
his hair, got his gear from the same place that AJ gets his from.
It's the little things like that I appreciate. How he changes his hair every time with whoever's on screen with him to look like that. Like that little stuff, as someone like me who's like, been watching this stuff my whole life, like I appreciate that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they had this match on Monday, AJ and Kross, which was a good match. And AJ wins, and he gets kind of fired up at Kross and angry at the end, and he beats him. And then Kross released a social media promo where he said like he needed to get that out. He had been trying to get that out of AJ for a long time because AJ needs to save us from YouTubers coming in and taking over the business and things like that, which makes me think that AJ could win if that's the angle they're playing. But I do agree with you. I am picking Logan Paul. I think this is a big time WrestleMania one-on-one moment for Paul to win against a credible opponent in AJ Styles. Yeah. But I am not confident whatsoever. I think I have 5. I think this is do I have 5?
Yeah, you have a 5.
Yeah, this is my 5, right? Smack. Yeah, 5.
Yeah. All right. So let's close out night one for our next match here.
Oh boy.
If I can find the graphic, there it is. Seth frickin' Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus the Second City Saint, CM Punk. I wasn't as interested in this match as a lot of people were,
Okay.
but that changed for me Monday when Roman turned on Heyman. That really just pulled me right into this. And, you know, the segment with Heyman and Punk backstage, which ended up leading to, you know, Heyman calling Punk the cult of personality, even though Punk was just trying to get him to say, "Oh, we're good friends." Yeah, that's what you see. You look in my eyes, you see a good friend, not the cult of personality.
Yeah.
And Roman ignoring Heyman, it was all good stuff. Seth having the vest on with the pockets and it being black, looking similar to the vest he wore in the Shield days, was fantastic.
So
the
good.
Go Home show really got me involved in this and interested in this match. But I've got Seth Rollins for 4.
Yeah. Okay. So I have liked the Paul Heyman aspect of this, how like it seems like all three of them are like, you know, there's no stakes in this match. I would love it to be a number one contenders match, but there's no stakes in this match, but Paul Heyman is the stakes.
Yeah, it's a Paul Heyman on a pole match.
Yeah, like Paul Heyman has become the stakes. With that being said, I don't want Paul Heyman involved in the finish.
No.
I know a lot of people are like saying, oh, he's going to screw both Roman and Punk and align with Seth, which I could easily see happening. And I'm not saying it's something that I would like not like or anything like that. I would just prefer that like Heyman gets frustrated and just like kind of leaves.
Yep.
Like goes, the hell with this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be in the middle of this crap. I'm out of here. But I do think, you know, last year, Seth was kind of an afterthought in things. He was the fourth of, you know, and he, you know, I'm glad that they kind of gave him his flowers and Cody said that he was the reason he won the title. Like, I'm glad they brought that up recently, but like Seth was kind of an afterthought. And I felt like up until the last couple weeks, he kind of felt that way in this match too. Like everything's been centered around Roman and Punk, you know, but with the insertion and the way that Seth has done the last couple weeks involving his side of it with Heyman, I didn't like the, oh, I didn't curb stomp you, so you owe me a favor. Bullshit. He doesn't owe you anything. You don't get, just because you spared me doesn't mean I owe you a thing. Like, you should have kicked me. You know?
That'd be like, you know, Jason Voorhees not stabbing you with his machete and then going, oh, you owe me a favor.
Yeah, like,
because I didn't kill you. No,
that's not how that works, Seth. But I do like Seth's angle of him saying, like, dude, Roman doesn't really love you, and CM Punk is using you. He's clearly using you to get under. Like, Seth is speaking truth, like, to Paul, right? And I think Paul knows it, but he just has this hatred for Seth Rollins that because he's loyal to Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and both those guys hate Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
So Heyman naturally despises the man. However, I do agree with you. I think Seth is going to be, I think the victory helps Seth way more than it helps the other two. And I think Seth kind of needs it. If we're being honest, I think he needs it. I feel like he loses a lot of big matches more than he wins them, especially lately. And by lately, I mean like the last year or so, maybe longer. I think this is Rollins should stand tall, but it's my 2 point. Because I have no faith. I don't. It's Roman. How you feel about Charlotte, how we both feel about Charlotte, I can make that argument for Roman.
Yeah, me as well. You know, and one thing that frustrated me is this is closing out night one, but the way they built this when they first announced that it was a triple threat match, Heyman made it sound like it was closing out night 2.
Yeah.
Because you're closing out the show, you're taking us home. I'm thinking, oh, okay, so Sunday's gonna end with the triple threat match. No, it's night 1. So it's like, it still kind of falls down there a little bit. Punk still, he's main eventing night 1, but in all reality, he's only halfway through the card.
True.
So, yeah.
But I mean, look at that. Look at that's just how they do it. When you have the 2 nights, they're going to count the 2 nights, the main event of each night as.
Oh, I know.
You know,
I know.
So
it's how they do it, but still,
Oh, I agree. My thing is, when it comes to this, is I think I would have loved CM Punk's first WrestleMania main event to be like not just something that was kind of just handed to him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he should like win the Royal Rumble, win Elimination Chamber, or just kind of be in a thing where like I would have, because now, I don't know. I just felt like I would have appreciated it more that way. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm happy for the guy that he's main event. Like, and you could tell he was emotional in that segment. He was emotional when Heyman said that to him. And I feel happy that they had that moment together because I know they really do care about each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, especially when you found out that wasn't the favor, that means that was just handed to him. They were just like, oh, here you go, main event. Great. And it's like,
have fun.
I would have liked him to have earned it a little bit more than that, because that has been really the crux of why he left. Like, that's the crux of his story, is that he never got to main event WrestleMania and he was second fiddle and he wasn't appreciated. And that's 10, 12-year story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But with that being, this match is going to be tremendous. It's going to be very good. It's going to be very
absolutely.
Good. It's going to rule. And I do think the last couple of weeks they've made this feel like a big time triple threat match. And I'm in on it. It's going to be a great match, but I do think I think Seth sneaks a victory.
Now, when I was in the comments a week ago, in between 2 beards, I said worst case scenario for me, because you were doing worst case scenarios because Pluggo didn't want to give me too much of an advantage for this. I said worst case scenario, Rollins becomes a Heyman guy.
What a lot of people are thinking, though. A lot of people are talking about it.
End of the match, end of the night, Rollins gets the victory. Heyman comes down, raises his hand.
I think if they're gonna do the thing where Heyman actually aligns with Rollins, that will determine the finish of the match.
Okay.
If they play it out a little bit, like let's say Paul just leaves. He's fed up of Punk and Roman doing their bullshit over him. They continually fight about him in the match a few times, and he's like, "The hell with both of you. You guys have made my life a nightmare this last month or so. I'm out of here." And he walks out, and then Seth ends up winning because of that somehow. And then you slowly build. I don't know. I don't listen. Seth kind of does feel like a Heyman guy though too, like the way he you know what I mean? Like it would fit.
Yeah,
it would fit. I wouldn't want it to happen.
Yeah, he fits as a Heyman guy. I don't want it to happen at Mania.
That's fine. I would be okay if they drew it out.
Yeah,
like if you get to Backlash or you get to Money in the Bank and it's Seth versus one of these guys with Heyman there, and that's the turn.
Yep.
If we get to that one-on-one with Seth and Roman, because I do want to see Punk and Roman one-on-one 100%. But really, the match out of this that I want to see the most is I want to see Seth versus Roman one-on-one again. Like I want to see it, right? And if you get to that, I mean, even at SummerSlam, if you want to draw it out that much, if you get to that, a big one-on-one, no title involved, but big one-on-one with Seth and Roman, and that's when Heyman aligns with Seth, I'd be all in on that more than I would Heyman just turning on both of them in this match.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. We've got 2 matches left, it appears.
Yeah. Why don't we go to the other triple threat?
All right.
And then
I
we'll
like
end
that
with,
idea.
what is going to be the main event of the weekend.
Yeah. And the other triple threat that you speak of is Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bianca Belair for the Women's World Championship in a triple threat match that I don't want to say it's been a lackluster build because it's been an entertaining build,
I agree.
but it seems more like it's a feud between Rhea and Bianca, and Io's just been an afterthought the entire feud, the entire build.
Yep. Which makes me think that Io might be the one that wins.
Oh, okay.
However, I'm not saying that's my pick.
Yeah.
But I think that the fact that Io has been such an afterthought makes me feel like she's going to walk away with the championship, because I think Rhea and Bianca are so infatuated with each other that is going to lend to Io's advantage. First of all, this match is my pick. I think this is going to be the best match of the weekend.
I agree. I can agree with
I
that.
think this match is going to be the best match of Mania weekend. This match, it should open night 2. I don't even know if they've already announced it. I know it's on night 2. In my opinion, this should open night 2.
Oh, I agree.
I feel this. I feel the same way that I do about the IC title match here. Is I'm more sure that Rhea Ripley isn't winning this match, than I am that of the one of the other two winning.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Why would you take the title off of her if you were just going to put it back? Why would you do that? You could have got to this triple threat with just her being the champion the whole time and have her retain in this. If that's what you want, like that wouldn't make any sense, right?
Nope. No, it would not. Because you could have had her get the sneaky pin on Io to get the title back or keep the title.
Yeah.
And then Io say, okay, look, I know it's Rhea and Bianca now, but Rhea's only ever beat me one time. I want to show that it was wrong for her to do that.
Yeah. Or you could,
and it was a slip up. It's never going to happen again. So I want in this title match.
Yeah.
Versus the chaos beat downs
100%.
that we got to this.
100%. Oh, I'm going to be honest with you. You could have done the same exact thing you did with Rhea with Io.
Mm-hmm.
You could have had Bianca just be the one that accidentally, whatever, be the, like, instead of her confronting Rhea in that title match, you could have just had her do that with Io. And Rhea won because Io was being distracted by Bianca. And then Io shows up and does the stupid signing of the contract thing. You could have done the same thing and still got to this end game without ever taking the belt off of Rhea. Now, again, I love Io, and I'm happy that Io's the champion. Second WrestleMania in a row, she's walking in as a world champion. I'm cool with that. But, like, again, that's why I think Rhea is not going to win this match. Because why would that happen? It would just make no sense with anything else you've done. With that being said, Bianca Belair is undefeated at WrestleMania. He made it a point to say that she's never been. They gave all three of these ladies great vignettes on Monday night. Mm-hmm. And in Bianca, she said, "I have never been pinned at WrestleMania." Now, the way that she said that, instead of saying, she should have said, "I've never lost at WrestleMania." But the way that she said, "I've never been pinned at WrestleMania," also makes me think that she could lose this match without being pinned and they can still lean in on that shit.
Right.
Which is weak in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
However, I do think that they're going to create some sort of a streak with Bianca here at WrestleMania.
Okay.
And I do think Bianca is going to be a heel soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I am picking Bianca. And I don't know what the lowest point total I have left. 3, maybe 4?
4.
This will be my 4 because I really think Io can retire. I'm torn on Io. But I'm going to pick Bianca for 4.
I agree with you in a lot of the aspects of how you could have gotten to this build, the things they've done with Bianca, the way they've talked about Bianca. I also have Bianca Belair winning for 7.
Okay.
And I do agree that if it doesn't happen at Mania, by Backlash, she's a heel, full-blown heel.
I agree. And I think coming out of this match, this will lead, and I would be totally okay if they did a year build,
Mm-hmm.
but this should lead to a Bianca versus Rhea Ripley one-on-one match as one of the, me personally, I would have it main event the whole fucking show next year. Night 2 main event. Because that, to me, male or female, that is the biggest match they have in this company that we haven't seen yet, is Rhea and Bianca one-on-one. With their history, 1,000%. And I think that this is the start. We've already seen it with how they built it, but this match coming out of it is the start to the official first Bianca and Rhea match, which should happen at Mania. Or if you want to start it at SummerSlam and the Mania match is like the culmination, but I think it should be first time at Mania. Should be.
And I will say this as well, that if Io goes into Mania next year with a title around her waist and does not walk out retaining said title, no fan is ever going to believe that she's going to win a title at Mania.
It's another reason why I'm so torn about this.
Yeah, this is 2 in a row that she would walk in and walk out with and without.
Yeah.
So let's. I'd be okay if I completely got this wrong and Io picked up the victory here, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen.
I do not either. But I would definitely love it. I would definitely love if it happened. I would be ecstatic, actually, because I do love Io a lot. I like all 3 of these girls are special.
Absolutely.
I love Io, and I would like to see Io kind of walk out as the champion, because I do think 2 years in a row, especially the way last year she was a dominant champion for a long time, and the Bayley stuff made sense. This one, it's kind of like, again, like they didn't have to put the title on her.
Right.
And they decided to for a month for what you know what I mean? Like, that's another reason why I'm like, can Io win though? Like, of course she can, you know, like that's why I'm so torn on it. But
and last year it was the WWE Women's Championship. This year it's the Women's World Championship. I mean, now she's walked in with both belts. So well, let's hope we're wrong on this one and Io retains, but
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, you and me both. All right. We are at the main event of the weekend. Cody Rhodes, John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. Man, this was a weird build, in my opinion.
Well, I think tomorrow night is the finale of the build. So we haven't seen the last step yet between these two. But yeah, I agree. I thought the heel turn was a thing of perfection. One of the greatest things we ever saw.
I've been calling for Cena to be a heel again for 10 years.
Yep. And I thought they executed it to perfection. I thought they nailed it. I thought it was great. And then John Cena wasn't on TV for 2 weeks. And then he got to London, and the first promo, loved it. I liked all the stuff that John did over there, but it was 3 straight weeks of John Cena cutting a very similar promo with Cody cutting a very similar promo.
Yep.
And it was like, all right, this was great the first week. Okay, this was good the second week. And then by the third week, it was like, okay, like what's the next step here, guys? What's the next step here? Barely addressed The Rock. I think he was mentioned once by Cody. The first couple weeks, Cena didn't even acknowledge Cody. He called him kid that first week, and Cody told him to shut up, but he didn't even acknowledge, Cena. But I thought the last promo where Cena kind of went in on Cody a little bit, that was good stuff. And again, this hasn't been bad. I've liked what I saw, but it was 3 weeks of very similar stuff. And then Cena wasn't on Raw wasn't around last week, wasn't on Raw this week. Again, we have tomorrow, which I'm expecting something big. But yeah, I feel like it's been, weird might be the right. It's just been, again, like I feel like the word for me of WrestleMania is lackluster.
Yeah. And I'm sure come the end of this match, we'll be going, man, that was a fantastic
this is going to be
Mania.
It overbooked. This is going to be this is going to be like the main event of last. It's going to be an overbooked piece of cinema as the people say, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah. I did like Cody bringing out some of the previous championships.
Yep, me too.
I saw a lot of speculation online, and I kind of agree with it. It seems like they've changed up the spinner belt a little bit. Looked like there was some blue on there when there wasn't blue before, unless it was, reflections because they were on SmackDown, but
Yep.
it looked blue in spots. And the fact that the spinner set above everything else, even though there were titles that, had a lot more lineage to them,
Mm-hmm.
I got to go Cena on this one. I think he breaks the record at Mania, and I'm so confident in this that it's my 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like you don't do the heel turn if the payoff isn't John winning this match.
Yeah.
That's just, I call it old school way of thinking or whatnot, but I don't think you do a moment like we saw at Elimination Chamber if the payoff is not John Cena holding that world title at the end of WrestleMania.
Yep. I hope Travis Scott's not involved in this match. That's all I got.
They've already announced that he's going to be there.
I know he's going to be there, but I don't want him in the match.
I think personally, I think he should probably wrap John Cena to the ring, to be honest.
You think so?
Yeah, that's what I would do. Do like a remixed version of Cena's song and have like Travis Scott do like a little live rap walking down the ring with him.
See, I was
that's a
hoping
way to get a big celebrity involved, and like he's going to be around ringside, like he's going to be involved. I wouldn't be sure. It's WWE. It's going to be an overbooked, everything here. So I would assume he's going to get involved. Do you think we see The Rock?
I think so. I think even if it's just sitting down there to watch.
Okay, you picked John Cena for 13. I picked John Cena. I think I only have 9 left, right? Is 9 the only one I have?
Yes.
Well, yes. So I picked Cena for 9. So still pretty confident, but I couldn't go all the way because there are other elements I want to ask. I know we have a tiebreaker thing that you wanted to talk about, and I think the tiebreaker might be involving a certain superstar that maybe will show up here. Maybe, I don't know. You honestly didn't tell me, but I do need to ask you before we move on to the tiebreaker. Backlash is in St. Louis. The graphic of Backlash was released, and it's Randy Orton. Randy Orton has a long history with both of these individuals. Could we think that John Cena's first opponent for the title is the last match ever between him and Randy Orton at Backlash in St. Louis for the world title?
I'd love it. I think it would be phenomenal. Him and Orton, you have that history. You don't need a several month build. You need a 1 week build for that, in my opinion.
Yep. And I think that's a way. So I could see Randy Orton, whatever Randy Orton's going to do aside. I don't know if we'll talk about that at all, but if we do, we do. But I could see Randy Orton getting involved. Not like if this shit breaks down and The Rock shows up and Travis Scott shows up and some shenanigans happens, I could see Randy being one of the guys that comes down to help Cody. In this. Yeah. I could also see Randy coming down and being the third guy.
Yes.
Well, because that would be wild if it was Randy Orton, John Cena, and The Rock. But I think that wouldn't be the first. Yeah. But I could see Randy coming down and trying to help Cody. And let's say it doesn't work and Cena wins. Randy then gets the match in St. Louis for the title. Cena beats him. And then at SummerSlam, Cody wins the title back from Cena. And then you could go and you could start doing then that next Friday on SmackDown, they're all celebrating and Randy Orton drops Cody with an RKO.
Yeah.
And says, "Oh, I couldn't beat John to get that title back, but you did. I want the title." And that's because we've been waiting for the Randy Orton Cody. That's Cody's best feud. It is his best story that we haven't even got to yet.
Yep.
We've been waiting for it for a long time. I think that you can get there through this. I think you can get there through this, but I'm interested to see what you think Randy will be doing or if you think that Randy being involved or could show up during this match with his history with both these guys. And now that he has nothing to do officially, kind of, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, he doesn't officially have anything to do. Don't mind my dogs going crazy in the background there.
Hey, they're dogs, man. They're dogs, you know?
Kids are getting home from school.
Hell yeah.
Or the wife's home, one of the two. But yeah, I don't think it's going to come down to this, but we're still going to factor in this bonus thing that I have, and it's for a total of 5 points, but there are 2 segments in it. So each one's going to be worth 2.5 points. So you get one right, you get 2.5 points. You get both right, you get 5 points. With that being said, here it is. Randy Orton, WrestleMania. Who is he taking on? There are a number of rumors. There are a number of speculations. I mean, I've heard that it's going to be Nick Aldis. I've heard all sorts of stuff. So, who do you think will be Randy Orton's opponent? We'll go this way first.
I would love it to be Nick Aldis.
Okay.
I think that would be very cool. I would love it to be Nick Aldis, but I am picking the returning Rusev.
Oh,
or Miro, or whatever they're going to call him. But I am going to pick. I'm going to go off the board here. But I am picking the returning Rusev.
All right. So with Rusev returning, would Orton win or would Orton lose?
I mean, I personally, I would like Orton to lose, but I would have Randy Orton winning. I think Rusev has like the 2 things with the returns of Malachi Black and Rusev is I think Rusev more than the other. Rusev can come back and take a loss in his first match, and I think it's fine. I think it's fine because of the history of him. So again, it's probably not going to be right. I want it to be Aldis, but I'm gonna pick Rusev because I think that would be dope if all of a sudden we heard the Rusev music and everyone's blacking out chanting Rusev Day and all of it. He needs to be the Redeemer character though. No matter what they're gonna call him, he needs to be that Redeemer character.
Redeemer. Oh yeah, that was the best character ever. We don't need. I mean, everybody's gonna chant Rusev Day.
The Redeemer. Like it fits. Like just rolls. He just needs to be that guy. He just needs to be that guy.
Yeah. We don't need what's his face, Aiden English coming back going Rusev Day. You know, we don't need that. We need Rusev to come back as the Redeemer. But I kind of went the other way than you on this one, and I went Black returning.
It's fair. I would be perfectly okay with either one of those. I think that'd be fun.
So would I. And I'm with you on Orton winning this. I know it's like, well, you said Rusev over Black could do take the loss better in his first match back. I think Black would be okay if he took a loss.
I agree.
And you know, he could blame it on ring rust or that RKO came out of nowhere. It just caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it type of thing.
Look, losing to Randy Orton.
Oh, there's no
it's not like that's a black mark on your record, man. You lost to literally one of the all-time greats at WrestleMania. Like you're okay.
At WrestleMania,
okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah. But,
I think there we go. Now I got the right logos up. I think WrestleMania from start to finish is going to deliver. The build hasn't been very good, but the card is stacked.
Very much so. Yeah. I think this is going to be, one of those WrestleManias where we were all feeling a little iffy getting there. But once the weekend is over and when Sunday night ends, we're all going to be like, that was a very good WrestleMania, like a very good WrestleMania. So
absolutely. All right. Well, as we head towards WrestleMania week, we've got Collision tonight, 8:00. So be sure to check that out and be sure to enjoy WrestleMania weekend all weekend long. You got the Hall of Fame tomorrow
Yeah,
night,
1
right?
a.m. on the East Coast for me. 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So we have SmackDown tomorrow night. Then we have the Hall of Fame at 1 a.m. Saturday at 1 p.m. is NXT Stand and Deliver, which that card looks like it's going to be incredible. And then you have night 1, you have night 2, and then obviously the post Raw Mania, which is always usually noteworthy as well. And then NXT, I think, is even live in Vegas still on Tuesday.
Okay.
So they have, and that's not even included. TNA has a special event tonight as well, I believe. The Bloodsport is tonight with Natty. Karrion Kross is fighting on Bloodsport. Baszler's on Bloodsport as well. Dempsey is on. There's like 4 or 5 WWE talents on there tonight as well. I don't know if you've seen the vignettes that Natty's been doing on social media, but give me that character in WWE.
Yes.
Can she break Maxine Dupree in half and turn into that character? Please.
That would be phenomenal.
I would immediately care about Natty again.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah. Please. But anyway. But yeah, no, look, it's WrestleMania weekend there. That's not even including, and yeah, the collective, like there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff. It's great. It's the best weekend of wrestling all year.
Yes. All right, JPJ, before we get out of here, take a moment to tell everybody where they can find you and everything that you're involved in.
Yeah, so you can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming everywhere, all social media platforms, including Twitch, where I do play video games a lot during the week. As far as wrestling content goes, most of my stuff is over on Love Wrestling CA, Thursday nights at 8 p.m., so I think this will probably be out post that, but every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm with my main man, Pluggo. You've seen us both separately and together on these airwaves of the Kicking Out podcast with you fellas, Between Two Beards, the flagship show over at Love Wrestling. I also do a show called Firmly AEW and Firmly WWE. We call, with Thru. That is in the mornings. We're going to be moving to Thursday mornings exclusively now. We used to do 2 days a week, but we're going to be moving to just Thursday mornings from here on out. And then I also do a couple things on bodyslam.net as well. Raw post show, Raw Dogs every Monday after Raw over there. And then starting next week, me and my pal Jose on the air are going to be doing a Dynamite post show on Wednesdays, right after Dynamite for Body Slam. So, and I'll be everywhere this weekend. I'll be on Love Wrestling. I'm doing a pre-show Saturday, a post-show Saturday. I'm doing a post-show with Body Slam on Sunday. I'm going to be everywhere this weekend. So just follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming and you'll see where I'm at.
You'll be everywhere except Vegas.
Correct. Sadly, I am having major FOMO, but hey, I got to go to an excellent Dynamite show last night, so that made me feel better. But I am feeling major FOMO seeing all my pals and my friends out there getting ready to have a great weekend of media and just have a great time.
Yeah. All right. Well, JPJ, I'm going to wish you good luck. That title.
Hey, at least we're going to have a definitive winner.
Yeah, that title's going to be on my shoulder soon.
We'll see. You're shipping it to Massachusetts if I win. I just need you guys to know.
Shep's shipping it to you.
That's fine. Whoever wants to.
He still has the title, unfortunately.
That's
because
fair.
Neither one of us have won it. Now,
That's
you do realize if you win, you're going to have to be making more KOP appearances.
I will be a fighting champion.
As will I. So, best of luck to you.
You as well.
Keep up with me through the texts as Mania goes on. Tanner's going to get everything posted so everybody watching or listening can keep track and figure out who the new champion is right along with JPJ and I, because we're not going to know until it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, be sure to follow the Kicking Out podcast on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. And listen to the Kicking Out podcast wherever it is you listen to your podcast, and leave us that 5-star review everywhere because we are 5-star KOP. Be sure to check out kickingOutShop.com. It's your place to go for some great merchandise, support a great podcast, and look fantastic doing so. Be sure to follow myself at Paul Zartman 87. Follow Tanner Lee at Tanner Lee 92, and you can even follow Austin Shepard at the Shep 27. And with all of that being said, JPJ, thank you again for taking time out of your day to join me here and make these predictions one last time. Best of luck to you.
You as well. Thank you for having me.
And on a programming note, the Kicking Out podcast is taking WrestleMania Sunday / Easter Sunday / 420 off. So we will be back on April 27th with another episode of the Kicking Out podcast.
This is where I say goodbye and good night.